Hello, my friends. Hope everyone's doing great. So, the download I got today was basically about jealousy and what it could look like in everyday life or any relationships that we're going through, and how it might impact situations and places where you can be impacted by it. So the first thing about jealousy is it's an innate response to something that you lack. So jealousy is a state of lack, basically, and we can safely say that now, that jealousy is just pure sense of inadequacy or lack. It's a lack mindset. Let's call it that way. When a toddler or a preschool child gets jealous, they show it, right? They go bite, hit, or just snatch that object from the other child because they're jealous, because they have this item that they will do anything for, and the other child, that child does not. So it's just a mindset of lack. So unfortunately, we are really comfortable with labeling children with the emotions of jealousy. But for some, I don't know, I'm not going to sit there and discuss the societal ways what jealousy is and how it, perpetuates in the society. So that's not what it's about. But let's call it that way, that we as adults, we are kind of ashamed of labeling our emotions of jealousy, That's a really interesting discussion I was having with my daughter the other day, who was feeling a little bit, I could see it on her face, that feeling of lack and that shame and guilt in admitting that, So I kind of coached her through that, the whole concept of jealousy and how it is and it's part of us. We're humans, we're not robots. We are meant to have those emotions, and if we label an emotion as what it is, it kind of it takes that sting off it, and then you start to work with how you shouldn't be ashamed of any feeling you're having. That's not the whole point. Is jealousy is an emotion, and we need to embrace it, identify it, and then work with it. Why are you jealous? So I was having the discussion with my daughter. It was really interesting, and I gave her examples of when I actually felt jealous, and I told her that's absolutely fine. You are allowed to be jealous. That's a feeling. You should never be ashamed of any of your feelings. No, that's not the whole idea of having emotions. It's to make light of what's lacking in your life. Jealousy is actually one of the shadow emotions that we feel. They are light emotions, they are shadow emotions. Light emotions are happiness, purity, sincerity, and that feeling of gratefulness. That's light emotion. Abundance is also part of the light emotions, where we see that lightness. And shadow emotions, when I say light and shadow, it simply means that balance. It doesn't mean shadow's wrong. It doesn't mean shadow's bad. No, that's beyond the point. There are different categories of our emotions, and shadow emotions are not wrong. So the shadow emotions are greed, jealousy, hatred, spite, a very inflated ego, and it's a sense of unjust entitlement of any kind. It could be any kind, It could be as simple as you, as a woman, if you are good looking, and then you have that entitlement of people kind of bowing to your wishes and to your words, or you're kind of used to having that treatment. So that's an entitlement. And I've seen it personally as well. I mean, yeah, but is it right? But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That is what part of our shadow feelings are. And it's not wrong. No, it's just an emotion. It's part of you. It's part of who you are as a person, as a human. And that makes you beautiful. So I would never be ashamed of any of my shadow feelings. Of course not. It is telling me what I need to work on, If I'm actually jealous from a person who is, say, more educated than me or more intelligent than me or has more of an insight than me, what does it mean? That means this is the thing that I need in myself to feel good enough, to feel secure, to feel like, yeah, I am something. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the whole premises of jealousy is. Like I said in the beginning of my video, it's all about feeling that feelings of lack, of discomfort, of that guilt and shame of wanting something that someone else has. How do I deal with it? Like, okay. So what happens, sadly, in families and friendships and jobs, any other networks that you have, what happens is that when someone is jealous of you, and it could be a multitude of reasons, it could be something as simple as you just having nice hair than them, or it could be as simple as people liking you a bit more than them, or as simple as you knowing your path, so you know what you're doing and who you're about, and people will be jealous of that because they're so lost and they're not sure about anything. And then they look at when they look at you going about your day with this brightness, with this light, with this happiness, that sense of fulfillment and abundance and love for life, love for yourself, love for what's new, what's exciting, When someone who is deprived of their own emotions, that they can't even accept who they are, basically, because of course they have to conform to the society. No judgment. Like I said, I will say over and over again, I will never dismiss a person because of who they are. No. But I will put them in a category and then act accordingly. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. If someone is in a severe lack mindset because they haven't allowed themselves to be true to themselves because of whatever, like I said, no judgments. You want to live like that? Go right ahead. Yeah, when someone like that looks at you with so much passion, with so much drive and so much knowing, that inner knowing, and they know that they can't put a wool over your eyes. They know they cannot manipulate you. They can't gaslight you. Or even if they manage to do that, it might just be for a short while, basically. So it's, in essence, it's not going to be successful, whatever they try to do. So when someone sees a person like you walking around with purpose, with a path, that jealousy, that envy, that hate, that inner conflict, I call it an inner conflict. That inner conflict, instead of saying, hey, you know what? Why do I feel that way? Why am I feeling that lack, that hate, that primal instinct of not matching up? Why? And why do then I have that basic instinct of making them feel lower, making them feel miserable, trying to ruin their day or ruin their vibe, or, create gossip and, start working with the similar kind of vibing people to just make things up that if you heard what they were saying, If you heard what they were talking about you, behind you, of course, these people do not have the guts or the balls, let's pardon my French, these people do not have the balls to say things to your face. So they will go behind your back, find similar vibing people who has similar thinking, who has nothing better to do with their time. They will get together and then they will gossip and malign your name and, you know, try to get at your reputation and whatnot. So the whole idea of jealousy, my friends, is to look within and think, why am I feeling that lack? Why am I feeling that sense of not measuring up or not being good enough? Do I need to start being grateful for what I do have? Do I need to start being grateful for the things that I can do instead of focusing on what the things that I'm not good at or I'm not going to excel at? And I'm not saying that means that you need to stop working on yourself or, trying to do better. Of course not. That's not the whole idea. The whole idea is to look at that emotion of jealousy, look at it, learn from it, assess where you are with it. Is that even a value? Sometimes you'll realize that the jealousy that you have against another person, it's actually based off a value that's not aligning with you. For example, if someone has a much bigger or better house than you, right? But you're sort of a person who likes a small contained house so you can keep it clean and keep it neat and just manage everything in a much better way. Just giving you an example. And because everyone's talking about how great their house is and how big the land is and, what the potential can be, economically, of course, I'm talking economically, and you start feeling jealous, you got to question yourself. Do you even believe in that value? Do you even think that the thing about that you're getting jealous about is even worth it for you? Is it? No. A lot of the times you'll find that the things that you're jealous about in another person, that thing within yourself, it doesn't even hold any value. You don't even value it yourself. So that sometimes you'll be amazed at what bullshit value that you're being jealous of, and then you just amaze yourself, and then you think, oh my goodness, how ridiculous this is. I don't even care about that. Why I'm even thinking about that, let alone being jealous? So friends, jealousy is a shadow emotion, but it's trying to teach you something. It's that primal urge to, get whatever this other person has. But do you really want to get what the other person has? A lot of the times, not really. If you dig deeper into yourself, into your own values, and if you dig deeper into what you're wanting to align yourself with, you will realize, actually, I don't even care about that. No. But if I am, in all honesty, if I am jealous about something, then it is teaching me about something, 100%. Then I need to find ways to either better myself or find ways to accept. If I 100% know that I can't do something, then I need to accept where I'm at and then change my values and reframe my values basically, and then realize I'm not jealous of that. No. So jealousy, my friends, can be really destructive, especially when used by people of lower vibrations and lower frequencies, who will come together and spread that vibrations even further, and then they will bond together in that lower vibrations and then basically destroy each other live. I mean, I shouldn't be laughing, sorry. But it's amazing how people can come together for just such wrong reasons instead of coming together for love, to build each other up and to appreciate each other, to compliment each other in authenticity, to say that, yes, what you just did was amazing. I appreciate it, you know. So you choose, learn from jealousy, learn from what it means, then assess yourself. Do you align with that or not? And then take the right course of action for your life. Because end of the day, you're responsible for yourself. And with that, my friends, I say goodbye.